Welcome back, drawing buddies. This week we're going to draw Spider-Gwen, our ghost spider, from pencils to inks to colors. So if that sounds like a good way to spend 28 minutes, let's draw. Spider-Gwen, or Gwen, not Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider's first appearance was in Edge of Spider-Verse number 2, and that was in 2014. She caught on instantly. They gave her own book, and she's been around ever since. I'm going to mostly talk about the Across Spider-Verse and Edge of Spider-Verse movies in this one because I haven't read the comics in forever, and I haven't up my Marvel app to reread anything, so we're going to go in with the movies. In the Spider-Verse movies, Across Spider-Verse, Edge of Spider-Verse, she's played by Haley Steinfeld, and she does a good job. And she also got the cool hairdo with the half fold over, shaved on the side because of Miles and his hands that a lot of cosplayers copy. So, it's fun stuff. And it added to her mythos a bit. So, we're going with it. The first movie, they don't really get into her story too much. It's mostly about Miles. They just tell you that she came from an alternate Earth, whose number I don't know, but I will look up when I mention it again. And, she got bit by the spider instead of Peter Parker. And Peter Parker kind of felt invisible and unknown. And he wanted the same feeling that he wanted to be as cool and popular as Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider, or Spider-Woman, actually, as she is known in her universe. So he does all science stuff on himself because Peter Parker is a scientific genius on the level of Reed Richards and Tony Stark, but a little less. And so he turns himself into the Lizard. And as the Lizard, he goes on a rampage, and Gwen has to stop him. And during fighting Peter Parker as the Lizard, something happens, and Peter gets unalived, and Gwen can't save him. So it's kind of like the opposite scenario what happened in the actual Spider-Man comics that we all grew up with and loved. Or the 616 universe, where the Green Goblin in the 70s, I believe, drops Gwen Stacy off the Brooklyn Bridge, and Spider-Man, Peter Parker, catches her with a web. But on the way down, her neck snaps, and she doesn't make it, and that sends Spider-Man on a tear, and he doesn't unalive the Green Goblin, but he gets to a big fight with him at the end, and it's almost like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. He shoots the glider at Spider-Man from behind. Spider-Man jumps out of the way, and the glider impales the Green Goblin, and that's the end of the Green Goblin for a little while, but it's comics. Nobody stays dead, so he comes back eventually. Same thing with Gwen Stacy. They brought her back for some weird storylines with the Green Goblins, I want to say, in the 90s and stuff, but we're not going to talk about those because they're weird and creepy, and I don't like them. And they're not well written, and I don't even know if they're canon anymore, so we will leave that be. Gwen Stacy herself, her first appearance is in Amazing Spider-Man 31 or 33, I believe. Has the ugliest cover ever. It's like a red cover with a really weirdly drawn spider face in the middle with lines coming out of it to break it into panels in like a circular pattern. Oh, it's terrible. One of the ugliest first appearance covers you're ever going to find. And sadly, it belongs to Gwen Stacy. Also in that issue, it's the first appearance of Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn's son, sorry. So there's a little trivia fact for you. So if you want Spider-Gwen's true first appearance, you need the first appearance of Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 31 or 33. I'd have to look it up. And we're going mostly by memory here, except for the fact that I watched the two movies, so forgive me for any mistakes that I make, and feel free to call me out for any mistakes that I make in the comments, because there will be a few, I'm sure of it. And it looks like my audio interface is starting to crap out, because I just got all kinds of weird distortion from the microphone, and it was awful. And I'm like, oh, that's not great. How do I fix that? I said, oh, I'll just plug it into another channel, because I have 8 channels on this thing, because I record music. And I plugged into that, and it sounded just as bad. I'm like, oh, don't tell me my microphone's going. I mean, I'd have to use another microphone, not a big deal, because I have a a couple for music and stuff, but you know, I like this microphone. It does a good job. And so I swapped that out with another one, and it sounds just as bad. Like, oh, that can't be it. So I switched cables. That's not it. And then I switched the microphone, the cables, nothing. So I'm like, oh, not great. And then I'm like, you know, let's just shut off and turn on the interface again. Because, you know, that's how any good IT professional starts problem solving. They shut the computer off, they turn the computer on again. And guess what? That fixed it, unfortunately. So that means that this interface might be crapping out on me. And that'll be awful because it's only a couple years old. And it's a nice Thunderbolt one that works good with the Mac. And I get good audio quality out of it. So, yeah. Not great. And I don't even think they make one like this anymore exactly. So I don't know. We'll find out. But I'm glad it wasn't the microphones. Even though it's a lot cheaper to replace a Shure SM58 than it is to replace an audio interface. Alright, enough of my technical problems. You also, some people who actually watch my videos from back when there are a couple of yous, you'll be like, why is he drawing Spider-Gwen again? He's already drawn Spider-Gwen. And you are absolutely right. But I really don't like that drawing of Spider-Gwen. I mean, the idea of it that I had in my head was cool, but for some reason the execution isn't where I wanted it. It's just kind of too flat. I don't like where I went with the background. And my little bugger, who I watch on the few days a week, she loves the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. It's on Disney+. So I decided, hey, I want to make a poster for her to hang up in her bedroom because, you know, it'd be cool to have something for me there. And I called up a local place, and it's quite affordable to do that. So I said I should draw another Spider-Gwen because nothing else I've really drawn I think would be appropriate for a little girl's bedroom. So I redrew Spider-Gwen for that reason, and two, because I had the idea in my head I wanted to do the poster thing with the text in the background, and I'm like, yes, that's how we're doing it. So I redrew Spider-Gwen for not being happy with the original one, and because I had an idea for another one. So, you know, they're both valid reasons, I think. And we're always trying to improve, so sometimes it's good to revisit something that you drew before, which I'm sure I will do on other things too. Like I will eventually draw another Spider-Man. I will eventually draw a Venom that's not a joke. Things like that. So it'll be cool. I want to draw another Superman because the Superman vs. Thor, I do like that one. But it's kind of mean-spirited. And I got a Thor video coming up to correct my anti-Thorisms in the Superman video by having him get his butt kicked. And I just want to draw Superman doing his thing too. I know close to the Supergirl movie, I'm going to do another Supergirl. I'm going to do Lobo, because Lobo's in it, and I love drawing Lobo, but I think if I drew Lobo now, he'd be too obscure. I mean, I know comic people love Lobo and know Lobo, but the general audiences who might stumble upon the video will be like, who's that weird-looking dude who looks like he's in a biker gang from the 80s? And they might not watch it because of that, but once he shows up in a trailer or two, that might be a different story. I mean, I have drawn Lobo before, in the vein of the Superman versus Thor one that I did a few months back. I drew Lobo versus Deadpool, where it's not really a fight, it's just Lobo standing there, and he's got Lobo on a dog chain, and Lobo's on all fours looking up at his master, because a friend of mine told me that Deadpool could beat Lobo. And while technically they're both immortal, even though Lobo might not be anymore, Lobo is a heck of a lot more powerful than Deadpool will ever be. Lobo could go toe-to-toe with Kryptonians like Superman, and he destroys planets, and he's just... So Lobo is, at bare minimum, a planetary threat. And Deadpool, well, he's just a kung fu guy who has a really good healing factor, and is immortal because Lady Death's in love with him. So, you know, Lobo might not have a way to kill him permanently, but he could definitely beat him in a fight. And Lobo is the kind of sadist who will chop his head off and carry it around with him in a jar forever just to make sure he doesn't fully regenerate. So yeah, Lobo would definitely beat Deadpool in a fight. But when I do, hold on, the pencils are done, and it's time to ink Spider-Gwen. So yeah, Deadpool will definitely lose a fight to Lobo. Even though technically he won't be killed, he'll definitely not win. He's not powerful enough. There's nothing he could do that can actually harm Lobo. Like, I don't think an ordinary sword like Deadpool has can take out Lobo. I mean, he might have some weird cosmic thing that I don't know about that's happened in recent times, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't. But back to Spider-Gwen. So, in Across the Spider-Verse, the second Spider-Verse movie, it starts out with Gwen. It's like, let's do this again, but different, because the Spider-Verse movies start out explaining who Spider-Man is, and they show the comic books, and it's a really cool montage, and those movies do what they do great. In fact, I am going to go on record as saying, as far as Spider-Man movies go, I believe that the Across the Spider-Verse and Edge of Spider-Verse are the two best Spider-Man movies made so far. And it's not even close. I'd put them above the Tobey Maguires, above the Andrew Garfields, and above the Tom Hollands. Like, my big problem with the Tom Holland movies is Spider-Man never really got to be Spider-Man. He was always Tony Stark's kid protege, and Spider-Man was never that. So, you know, that kind of bummed me out about those movies, even though I do like them. So it starts out with Spider-Gwen. Let's do this again, but different. So she talks about her origin, what I mentioned earlier, that with Peter Parker and her getting bit by the spider. And her father, he is the police chief. Officer Stacy, or Commissioner Stacy, or Police Chief Stacy, whatever the heck he is. And he was there when Peter Parker, as the Lizard, died. And he blamed Spider-Gwen because, you know, Peter came to his house, had dinner, they were family friends, Aunt May, Ben Parker, because in her universe, Ben is still alive. Ben Parker, because Peter Parker never became Spider-Man. So you never got the with great responsibility comes... With great power comes great responsibility speech. So it turns out in the first Spider-Verse movie where they closed the Collider and sent all the other Spider-Man home, the Peter Parker, the Spider-Man Noir, the Penny Parker, the regular Peter Parker with the dad bod, and Gwen, they didn't fully close the rift. So a version of the Vulture shows up on Gwen Stacy's Earth in the Guggenheim. If you've never been to the Guggenheim and you're in New York City and you want to go to a cool art museum, go to the Guggenheim. It's really cool. Last time I was there, well, the only time I was there, I only went to the Guggenheim once, and they had like a German Bauhaus design thing going on. It was pretty great. So this Vulture is tearing up the Guggenheim, and she thinks it's her Vulture. No big deal. But it is not. It's like this weird Vulture from Leonardo da Vinci times, like it's ripped out of one of his sketchbooks. Because if you've ever seen one of Leonardo da Vinci's codex, it's, you know, it's old paper and it's pen and ink, and he was a bit of a tinkerer, and he was designing things that were kind of a bit ahead of his time. Like he was trying to invent a helicopter, an airplane, a tank, all kinds of fun stuff like that. So the Vulture looks like he's ripped right out of there. And he's confused and angry, and he just wants to go home. But, you know, he's also the Vulture, so he's a little violent. And he's fighting Gwen. And out of nowhere, when Gwen's about to get her butt kicked, is it Spider-Man 2099 shows up? Either him or a version of Jessica Drew shows up, a pregnant Spider-Woman on a motorcycle. But anyway, they all get together, and they fight, and they beat the Vulture, and Miguel, Spider-Man 2099, explains to Gwen that they didn't stop the rift. They left a huge hole for people like this Vulture to get through. And he's the only one who cleans up the mess. And it turns out Miguel actually made himself a Spider-Man army. A team of Spider-Men to stop the multiversal threats and to keep the canon events stable, because apparently there's certain things that happen in a spider person's life and they have to happen, And if they don't, the fabric of reality in their universe starts to unwind. Like if they're close to a police captain, the police captain has to die. In the original Spider-Man comics, Gwen Stacy's father was Captain Stacy, except she wasn't Spider-Woman, and he ended up getting killed in an issue. So eventually, I guess it's said that Gwen Stacy's father is going to get unalived if he continues to be police chief, and that also goes for Miles, because Miles' father in the Across the universe is a police chief in Brooklyn or the Bronx, wherever they live. I'm not sure. So that's a canon event that he eventually has to go. So Miguel wants to keep Miles from saving his dad so that the universe doesn't unravel itself. And yeah, it's a mess. We also meet Spider-Punk, Hobie Brown, which we drew a few weeks ago, so we won't be drawing him, well, a month ago or so. So we won't be redrawing him anytime soon, but he was a lot of fun. And he started my journey for ridiculously colorful backgrounds. So if my neon colors on Optimus Prime aren't your fancy, you can blame Hobie, because I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. And I got all fluorescent and stuff on him. And I love it, and I am glad I did it. And I'm going to do it some more. If you saw the Optimus Prime video, you saw that his background was a little bright. Although it was kind of techy and cool, so. And 80s-ish, so it kind of fit the aesthetic of, G1 Optimus Prime, because, he's from the 80s. So, man, my brain shut off there for a second. I couldn't think of what I wanted to say as far as Optimus Prime and when he was from. Oops. Then you got a sentence like from is from me. So, oops again. Jeez. I am a mess right now. So, after they beat the Vulture, Captain Stacy shows up, Gwen's dad, and he corners her, and she has no web, so she can't just web him up and get away, because she used them all on the Vulture. And she takes off her mask and tells him who she is, and he still tries to arrest her, because, he's a police captain, and he can't show favoritism even to his daughter. And then Miguel and Jessica Drew, they kind of web him up, and they tell Gwen that she'd come with them, because where else is she going to go at that point? Her father thinks she's a murderer, wants to put her in jail, and so she goes with him. And then it cuts to Miles, and Miles is doing his thing in the introduction, and then he goes to get a snack before meeting with his parents. Oh my gosh, this is going quick. The inks are done. It is now time to color Spider-Gwen. So wow, that went really fast. But anyway, so he's doing his thing, and the Spot shows up in the deli he's at trying to get a snack, trying to steal an ATM, because Spider-Man turned him into this white fleshless mass with spots all over him that travel through dimensions. And they fight, and he insults him, so the Spot gets insulted, like, I'm not even a villain of the week, you created me, you did this to me, I did this to you, you're the reason you exist because of me, and this whole thing. But we're not really going to get into that too much, because it's about Spider-Gwen, because then Miles ends up at a party with his parents, because his father's getting promoted to police captain, or chief, or whatever. Yeah, captain, that's what it is, Captain Stacy. And he's late with the cakes, and his parents are all mad at him because Miles doesn't think anybody understands him. Typical teenager stuff where everybody's against you and you don't listen to your parents. And he's Spider-Man, so that makes it doubly hard on him because he has the weight of the world on his shoulders trying to save everybody and do the right thing and be Spider-Man. And they end up grounding him. So he's in his bedroom all like, I'm not grounded, I'm Spider-Man, whatever. So he puts in his headphones and he's listening to music, and the portal opens, and Gwen shows up, like, hey, stranger, how's it been? And he's like, oh my god, good to see you. And, she starts talking to him, and, she's looking through his sketchbook, and it's full of pictures that he drew of her, because Miles is an artist. And then she opens up one of his action figures, like it's just a meaningless toy. And he's like, that's collectible. And, she's like, want to go for a swing? And he's like, I'm grounded. And she's like, oh, that's too bad. And she jumps out the window, and he looks. And then she goes, is Spider-Man grounded? And, of course, he's like, I've been missing her. I miss all my spider friends. I'm going to go chill with her. So Miles goes swinging out the window with her. And it turns out that she's not supposed to bother Miles because, things are supposed to go set in motion to happen. And Miles isn't supposed to know about it because apparently Miles is the original anomaly because the spider that bit Miles is from another universe. And the Spot pulled that spider into his universe, which bit him, which means the universe that the spider came from doesn't have a Spider-Man. And that world is apparently falling apart. And you'll learn that at the end of the movie where Miles uses the Wayback Machine to go back home, but the machine sends him to the Earth the spider was from because it sort of rewrote his DNA a bit. And in that world, Miles Morales is the Prowler instead of his Uncle Aaron, and there was never a Spider-Man to stop him. And there also wasn't a spider, so that universe, Miles might have actually become Spider-Man, but since the spider wasn't there to bite him, it bit our Miles, which then caused the Spider-Man on Miles' universe to get killed by the Kingpin and set the whole thing in motion with the Collider. It's a big mess, so don't take my word for it. If you really want to know what happened, watch the movie. So Gwen shows up and she's there and she's going around with him, but she's really there to see what's going on with the Spot because the Spot's been making a mess because Lego Spider-Man ratted on him for poking into his universe. Yes, Lego Spider-Man is in the Spider-Verse movie too for a few minutes. And then she kind of gets separated. She sets up a camera to find the Spot. And she gets to a big fight with the Spot, and the Spot gets away. And Jessica shows up saying, "You better not have saw Miles." And she's like, "I might have, just a little bit," and yells at him. So she's like, "Fine, I won't see him again." And she goes through the portal. But she doesn't know that Miles was there using his invisibility power, because Miles is like a broken Spider-Man. He has all the powers of Peter Parker and the other spiders, but he also has like an electricity jolt, which I think they call it his Venom Strike. And he can also turn himself invisible to camouflage himself, which I guess there's spiders that camouflage themselves. I doubt they turn invisible, though. But Michael Bendis wanted to separate Miles Morales from all the other spider people when he made him, from Peter Parker, because Peter was the only one. So he gave him some unique power. So technically Miles is sort of more powerful than Peter Parker, if you really want to get into it. So he follows her, and they end up in India, where Spider-Man's from India. And that Spider-Man's pretty awesome. I don't remember his name, and I'd probably butcher it anyway if I looked it up. So they're fighting the Spot there, and the Spot activates the Collider and makes a big mess of that freaking reality. But Hobie Brown shows up, Spider-Punk, and together they all almost stop him. But when they don't stop the Spot, things start crashing down in the universe, and bridges are falling, and there's like a little earthquake. And Miles actually saves the police captain in that universe that was supposed to die, which was Spider-Man India's girlfriend's father, and I guess she's some kind of a variant of Gwen Stacy, I'm gonna guess, because that's how these things work. It's either a Peter Parker or someone from Peter's life or a variant of them from somewhere else. And saving him breaks a canon event. It's an anomaly, so it really starts making a mess. So, Miguel shows up with the Spider Folk, and they're trying to fix it, and he's like, we're all coming back to here, and we're gonna have a talk. And Miguel's plan is to imprison Miles for a little while so he can't go to his universe and keep his dad from getting unalived. Which I don't know why I keep saying unalive in this video, because I said killed a few times, so I guess it's already done. But whatever, I'm going to stick to it. And Miles doesn't like that. He's like, that's messed up. You can't just let people die if you know it's going to happen and you could stop it. There's got to be another way. Spider-Man always finds a way. And the other Peter Parker shows up. I forgot what universe he was from. I don't think it was 616. The one from the first Across Spider-Verse movie. The one with the dad bod. And he shows up with his daughter because Miles showed him that, okay, maybe having kids isn't so scary. And me and MJ could pull that off. So they do. And I am running out of time in this video, so I might not get the whole story in. So Miles runs, and after feeling betrayed by all the other spider people, he finds his way home on the way back, but he ends up on the Earth where the spider was from, which we mentioned earlier. And Gwen goes looking for him because she realizes she messed up and she wants to help her friend. But she can't find him because she goes back to his original universe and realizes too late that he's in the other one. So he tells his parents that she's going to help Miles and bring him back. And she goes and recruits her own spider army because Hobie left her a bracelet when she went back home to her main universe that her father gave her. And her father's no longer in danger because he quit being police captain when she came back because, you know, he can't send his daughter to prison. He loves her too much. So he's going to do what he can to help her and clear her name. And this is one of those things I talk about in the drawings when I don't like something and I'm almost finished and I start redrawing parts of it. And redrawing this hand is part of it. I actually fixed another piece too, but I don't know if I keep it in the video or not. But I also went with this giant text background to get all graphic and make a really cool poster out of it. And I love it. I've been saying that a lot lately. I love it. And it makes a really cool poster, which I did for the grandbaby. And it's cool. And it's hanging up in her room now. And it looks cool. I saw it today because I had to go help them with some stuff. And she likes it too. She loves the Gwen. When I showed it to her, she lit up like, "Oh, Spider-Man!" Because she still calls her Spider-Man. Yeah. So now they want me to draw another picture and print it out like the size of her wall. I'm like, oh, that could get expensive for the frame. The drawing itself wouldn't cost much, but anyway, we're almost done. So Gwen goes to help Miles and puts her team together. Then the movie ends. Hey, we got there. And just like that, Spider-Gwen's done. So thanks for joining me for 29 minutes or so. Like, subscribe, and all that other fun stuff you're supposed to do to help the channel grow. I hope you had a good time. And go out and draw something, and I'll see you next week.